Welcome to another tutorial from tutorvid.com. Today we're going to teach you how to make a banner, mostly used for web, but you can also use it for print. Let's go ahead and get started by going to File, New, and we're just going to create a new document, 800 by 500 pixels. And when we have this blank screen, we're going to go ahead and get a color that we want. I'm going to go ahead and use red. TutorVid seems to like red. And you can use a swatch if you would like, or you can pick it. I like to use a swatch, it's easier. And then what you want to do is grab your shape tool by clicking U, or clicking on the dialog button on the side menu, but you want to make sure that you get the rectangle tool for this particular tutorial. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're in shape layer mode, not in paths mode, and you want to go ahead and make sure your color is selected. And just draw on the canvas nice size banner to go ahead and get you started. It's best to just eyeball it. I think this is a good size, so we'll go with that. Next, you can grab your move tool, your arrow, by clicking V, or just going to grab it just to make sure everything's nice and centered. And the next thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to duplicate this layer so that I can make the sides of the banner. And I'm just going to push Command or Control J to duplicate the layer. And on the bottom layer, I'm going to go ahead and name it Banner Left, because I know that this is going to be the left side of the banner. And I'm going to rename the top one to just Banner. Keep everything in order. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to scale it down so that it's smaller than the rest of it. So I'm going to push Command and Control T, and I'm just going to bring my right side in. And again, you just want to eyeball it. Make sure it's a good size for the sides. And I'm going to move it down so that everything is pretty much in the middle. As you can see, you have two different points so that it's connected in the middle. And I'm going to push Enter. And I think that's a pretty good position. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it a little bit darker, like so. Can't really see it on the video, but it is a little bit darker to have a little bit of contrast. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that layer, the banner left, and duplicate it for the right side. So what I'm going to do next is go ahead and rename this layer so that it says banner right, so that I can keep everything as neat as possible. Double click it, rename it. And the next thing I'm going to do is make sure the move tool is selected. And I'm also going to go ahead and click Control T to make sure the transform box is selected. And I'm going to try to put it in the same position as before, with my middle points lining up with the banner top, like so. And then what we're going to do next is we want to add the backside shadow to add some depth to the banner. Right now you can't see the two different colors too much, but there are two different colors. And what you're going to want to do is you just want to add that depth so that you can tell it's a banner. So grab your pen tool, and once again you want to make sure that you're in the shape mode, that you're in shape layers mode and not in paths mode. And then you're going to go ahead to your color, and you're going to change your color to something darker because it is a shadow. Go ahead and use your color picker to get something relatively darker. Not too dark, but much darker than what you have now. And you're just going to add anchor points in a bit of a triangle so that it connects your banner side and your top banner. And while you're adding the anchor points, you're going to want to hold your shift key to make sure all your lines are straight. And it might take you a couple tries to get it absolutely correct, but just go ahead and add your anchor points like so. And as you can see, you can already see a little bit of the depth that I'm thinking about. And then we're going to rename our layer so that we can keep the order, again by going to the layer, selecting the name, and double clicking it. And this time I'm just going to rename it Left Shadow, because it's the left shadow. Makes sense. And then once we do that, we are going to duplicate this layer so that we can have one for the right side. So duplicate again by Command or Control J. And then we are just going to double click that name, keeping order again, and rename it right shadow. Now with your duplicated layer, we're just going to go ahead and flip it and put it on the other side. So we're going to go to Edit, Transform Paths, and we're going to flip horizontal. And with that layer selected, just hold Shift and drag it right to the other side in a similar position so that it looks pretty identical and you'll see the depth. I need to change my layer order, and then like so, you see the difference and you see how it's starting to look like a banner. Now to add to the look of the banner, I'm going to take out a little piece of the sides to kind of make it look like a ribbon of some sort. So grab your shape tool, or you could push U, and we're going to get the triangle shape. So as you can see, you go to where it says shape and there's a little drop down arrow. Go there, you click the triangle like so. I'm going to pick an off color just so that we don't get it mixed up, because I'm not really using it as a shape. And what we're going to do is just draw the triangle like so. Next I'm going to grab my move tool and push Control or Command T to transform it so that I can flip it to the right, so like so. And I'm just going to use my transform tool to go ahead and stretch it out so that it looks right, and it covers the span of the left side. So it might take you a while to get it quite right, but I'm just going to move it up, move it down, squeeze it in a little bit so that it covers the side and so that it pretty much looks the way that I want it to look. So the purpose of this is to cut it out of the left side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my banner left, and I'm going to add a layer mask by clicking this button at the bottom of the layer palette. And it's going to give us a layer mask. Don't do anything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our triangle layer and Command or Control click that so that I get a selection. And I'm going to go back to my banner left. Make sure I click on the layer mask, nothing else, just the layer mask. And I'm going to push the delete or backspace button. And what that's going to do is that's going to clear out the area. And what I'll show you by hiding this triangle layer and deselecting it. You deselect by pressing Control D, and then I'm going to hide this layer like so, scroll back over, and as you can see, now I don't have that part on my banner, and it's starting to look more like a banner. So you definitely want to do that to the other side, of course, to make everything even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhide our triangle, and once again I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal, Shift, drag it over to the other side, and I'm going to basically put it in the same spot and do the same thing for the other side. Now there's a bunch of different ways you can go about creating a layer mask. An easy way is just to select your layer by pressing Command or Control, going to the layer you want to delete it, and just pushing the layer mask. As you can see, it's kind of inverted, so click the layer mask and push Command or Control I, and it'll invert the selection, and then you're right back to where you started, and it looks great. And that's pretty much it for the banner. I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer because we don't need it. We're done with that. And like I said, that's pretty much it for the banner. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group it so that everything is, again, organized well. So I'm going to go to my layer options, new group from layers, and I'm just going to go ahead and insert the name that I would like, which is just banner. Okay, so that's that. And that is pretty much it for your banner. And as you can see, when you group it, you're able to move it as one item rather than a bunch of different items. So again, that's it. Feel free to add some text, feel free to add some decoration. Feel free to do whatever you feel like you want to do. I'm just going to add some quick text, tutorvid.com, because that's where you go to get some of the best Photoshop tutorials around. Check us out online for more tutorials and more videos to get you where you need to be in Photoshop.